Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. It's a shaped easel card. The shape I created by using our Floral Frame Framelits. I'm going to do a slightly different colour. I'm going to use Tip Top Taupe. And I have to say, I videoed making this one yesterday, the mint macaroon, but the video finished up so long that this is take two. And what I've done is I've actually done all the die cutting beforehand, and the other part that made this card so long was the fact that I'd sponged all the edges. I'm not going to do that on this one. I find that if you use a DSP that's got a white background onto a colour, it's fine, but this here where I've got the green background onto a green card, it really needed the inking to make it stand out a little bit. So that will make this one a bit quicker also. So to start off with, I'm going to tell you the card pieces that we're going to need, and at the same time I will tell you what die you need to cut the shape out. Okay, so to start off with, you need a piece of Tip Top Taupe, and that measures 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. The dies I've used are the floral frames. There's 5 in here altogether, and the card has been made with the largest one. These are the dies. This is 4 of them. The 2 larger ones are this shape, and then you've got those 2 the same shape, and then there's that one which is quite similar to this. But the 5th one I can't put in there because it's too large for the box, so I have to keep this one separate. Okay, so this was cut out, that one, and that's what we're going to need for the actual card because I didn't cut that. Then you need 2 pieces of DSP. This came from the I think it was a Cherry on Top. Let me just double check that. Yes, Cherry on Top Designer Series paper stack. And I die cut these using number 4. This is number 5. As you know, with my dies, the smaller the die, the smaller the number, and therefore the biggest number, the biggest die is the biggest number, so that's 5. This is number 4. This is also number 4. So there's 2 of these, the DSP. There's also one white one because I put one on the back, so that gives people an area to write the greeting. And that was cut with number 4. That was Whisper White. And then there's these 2 pieces for this sentiment here. And these are from the Deco Labels Framelits. That's these ones here, and I think we get just 4 of these, that's right. So I've used numbers 1 and number 2 for those. Okay, so that's those all cut out. On the screen there'll also be the measurements of the piece of paper, piece of cardstock you need to actually be able to cut that out. I won't leave you to have to do all the guessing on that. And then for the sentiment on the inside, where it says Happy Anniversary, you need a piece of Whisper White, which measures 1 inch by 2.5 inches, and a piece of Tip Top Taupe that measures 1 1/8 inch by 2 5/8. Okay, because we're going to be layering those 2 together. You'll also need some scraps of Whisper White just for the flowers. Okay, so I will do the die cutting of, the main part obviously is for the card base, and this is 5.5 inches by 11 inches, and it needs to be scored and folded in half. So I bring my scoreboard over, move the die out of the way because I don't want to crush that. Okay, so this needs to be scored at 5.5. fold that in half. This one is not particularly important if the ends don't actually match up, because we're going to die cut this one. Okay, so I'm going to bring my Big Shot over. Right, let me clear these things to the side. Right, okay, I have my magnetic platform. Most of us have on our cutting plates these patterns where we've been using it time and time again. Mine aren't too bad because they are fairly new, but I still get a problem with them if I try and put a double piece of paper to go through. These lines leave like little scratch marks on here. So what I do to get that down to an absolute minimum is I use a scrap of normal computer paper that's folded in half, and then I'll put my cardstock on top, and I keep my fold towards me. And let me move my Big Shot forward a bit. As you can see, I forgot to anchor down my sheet of grid paper today. Never mind, we can cope. Right, so number 5 of the dies, what you need to do is to put these 2 pieces here onto the fold. Now the gap you see between, that goes down there, let's show you, the gap that you see between here, that's not very clever either, is it? And the fold is the part of the fold you actually see is what is going to be the fold on your card. Like this, if you look at the back here, I have these 2 pieces here. If you did it on just the one, you wouldn't have much of a support for the card, and it would be quite flimsy. So with my 2 pieces round, actually that's a nice shot there, you can see that, can't you? Okay, so if we get that quite close. So I don't have a huge amount of space here, but there's quite a long line on both sides of the fold. Now this is going to be a little bit tough to put through the Big Shot, because not only have you got the extra piece of paper to protect your cardstock, but you've got your cardstock double. But it will go with a bit of encouragement. It's going to really go with a thump. Oh, no, okay, it didn't. That was lucky. Oh, that was pathetic. Okay, so here we go. It will have cut your card really nicely. And also, in fact, let me put that down. I want to show you the scratch marks, what I call scratch marks on there. Alright, let's get that one off. That one. Now my card is beautiful. There are no scratch marks whatsoever. Which side went down? I think it was that side, wasn't it? I'm not sure you're going to actually be able to see these. It was more on this, wasn't it? Oh, you can, there you go. Look, that's what I'm referring to. You see the little scratch marks there? If I hadn't have put the that paper down, they would have been on my card. In fact, you can see it on there as well, which would have been part of my card. Yes, I can see it a lot better now up there. So, and you can too. So putting the paper in there, that has protected the card against that. Right, now that I've already done all of my die cutting, it's going to be fairly quick to assemble this. One more bit of scoring that we'll need to do is for the piece that's going to be folded in half. So you have a right side and a wrong side. On the right side, this edge looks as if it's curving down. So the front one, the top one, that's going to be the piece that's going to fold in half and form the easel. And what I do, to show you, is I put this onto my scoreboard, and you'll find that both of these points will just fit nicely into a groove each, and then equally this piece here fits a groove really nicely. So as long as that matches up a groove down this side too, then you really are good to go. It doesn't matter that it's not matching up to the edge on this side, you see, because it's gone into these two grooves and it's quite happy there. Okay, so spot on. Okay, I think we've got all systems go now. So that just gets folded with the bone folder. Right, that's good. Okay, so let's start with this piece. And I'm going to put my DSP on there first, and I'm using, yes, Tombow. Oops. Right, that's come out far too quickly. I know what I'll do. I haven't been in my craft room today, so this has been sitting like that all day, so I shouldn't have squeezed it so hard knowing that it's been like that. So if I just tap that piece off and then move it around. Now you do have two choices here. You can either put it like this so that your flower tip goes to that flower tip, which is what I'm going to do. And since how I've been flapping this round quite a lot, the other choice you have is like I did on the green one, where I put the points into in between these 2 points. Okay, so that's the difference. Matter of choice, really. Okay, and I can see I've got some glue on there. I'm going to need to, I would have to use my glue eraser to move that. And then I'm going to do my label, and the wishing you ridiculous amounts of happiness come from the Cottage Greetings, which is a lovely set. I love the font on both types of font on this one. So I've already prepared my stamp and my Stamp-A-Majig. So if I put that down, and that's the one I need. And what I'm doing is I'm going to put it down in this far corner because I want to put my flowers up here. So my Stamp-A-Majig tool I will put just there. I'm using Tip Top Taupe ink. I stand that upside down while I'm working on other things. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to put it onto there. I'm going to put this onto my front piece here using, I've got to remove that glue, so if I point that upwards, that's going to be the easiest position for me to work on it once I've put all my card together. Right, I'm putting this on with dimensionals. And I'm putting that on in the centre, and I'm just making sure that my points here are going to line up with these dips here. In fact, I'll use my grid paper, pop it on there so that's nice and straight. I think that's okay. Right, now that this piece, I'm going to put my designer series paper on. There we go. I'll put the back piece on while I'm here. Normally when I do easel cards, I do it so that there is something on the inside of the card, at the back of the actual easel. But I just couldn't think of anything to do that I thought would look nice on this one without making it look crowded. So I thought I'll just follow this design through. Obviously you could put another sentiment on there if you wanted. Okay, so that's that. Then the next thing I need is for my label, and this one I've also set up my Stampin' jig, but what I'm going to do with this bit is I'm using removable tape, because the Stampin' jig tool is not going to be on the paper, so there's not going to be anything there to hold it in place. I'll show you what I mean. Right, here we go. This sentiment, the happy anniversary, I'll show you that again. Okay, that one there. It comes from the set called Timeless Love. This is a really lovely set. The only thing that I have found is the two stamps that I've used, they have too much rubber around them, so I've cut the excess rubber off, which is why I finish up with a funny looking stamp like this. It does improve the way the stamp gives you your image, but I have to say that if you do this, you will make your guarantee with Stampin' Up null and void, which is understandable, but I don't expect to have problems with any of my stamps, my Stampin' Up stamps, so I don't see that it's an issue. Right, I've lined that up using the template that I'd made for stamping, for my Stampin' jig. And you see what I mean with the Stampin' jig, that's not touching this piece of paper, so as I go down it would be so easy to move it, and obviously if it moves it's not going to be in the right position. There we go. That's still a bit crooked, isn't it? No, that's alright, I'm happy with that. There is such a thing as being too fussy. And I've just remembered I haven't put my ribbon on here, have I? Right, I'll sort that out in a minute. the good thing about making mistakes is it shows, you know, ways around things, and never ever put your glue on the largest piece. Well, that's not true actually. Very rarely do you ever put glue or adhesive on the bigger piece that you're working with. Like everything, there will be exceptions, but I can't think of one at the moment. Okay, so that's that. Right, can I get this off without tearing? Now that was one of the big things about making this card, so I could show you how I managed to get the ribbon round without making it all go crinkly. I mean, no massive secret, but there we go, that was easy. Just remember that those two, look at all that glue there. Right, okay, what I'm trying to do is, you can see with the ribbon how it just fits around there nicely, rather than just putting it in there and making it all crinkled and hopefully get this to straighten it out. I thought, no, we must be able to get that straight, and I know how. So I've got a small piece of our dotted lacy ribbon and my ribbon scissors. In fact, let's put that away. So what I'm going to do is on the back, well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm deciding that there's a bump there. Will that cover that up? That must have been where I had that big blob of glue. Yes, that will cover it up, that's okay. Alright, so when you put this on here, obviously you're going to need to line it up like that. Okay, so that, where my fingernails are, that is going to be your halfway mark. And what I do, just to be on the safe side, is I'm going to mark them with a pencil, because the first time I made one of these, although I'd marked it, I wasn't really concentrating. I got distracted and I finished up putting glue on the whole lot, and you definitely don't need that. Okay, so we're going to put some fast fuse, and I'm going to put it just below my line. You can use whichever is your preferred method of holding down ribbon. I do find this is very, very good. Then with my ribbon, I'm just going to take the ends and I'm going to cut up about, I don't know, what's that, about an inch I suppose, let me see. It's about 1.25 inches and 1.25 inches at the other end. Okay, so the first piece, making sure you put it up the right way, because this one does have a scalloped edge on it. So what I'm doing is I am putting the first piece of ribbon round that bump, and I am feeling my way to stick it down onto the fast fuse, and still holding this one over here so that I'm in a straight line without putting it too much. Then this one, I'm going to take it round and curl it up very slightly. Let's see if I've done that. Yes, there we go. So they've crossed over, which is how this works. Obviously, if you do any kind of sewing, you'll know all about this anyway. Okay, so to the other side, give it a little bit of pull, take one side down, and then the other side, and take that round as well. Now you may find, oh no, that's alright, I was going to say you may find that you've not put the glue in quite the right place. but there you go. That's how you get it to fit on there. If you find that you've got any bits down here that you think are a bit close, you can always trim those off. Okay, so that's all we need to do on that one. Then I'm going to adhere this to my card base, and I'm going to put wet glue again below my pencil marks. I will put some on the ribbon. Let's see if I can do a fairly straight line across here. That's it. That should do nicely. And then just line the petals up. Quite easy. Then I put it on upside down, did you know that? Or have I got glue top and bottom? Right, okay, so that's that bit done. You may find, which is what I normally do, excuse me while I just reach across my little helpers. These are little things that were left over. Sorry, you probably can't hear me. These are little things that were left over from an earlier project that I did. And I find that the pegs go on there nicely, just to hold that in. Hold it just for a couple of minutes to get the glue to fix. Fortunately, Tombow doesn't take too long. Okay, so that'll do nicely. So if we move that one over there, then I can be adhering my greeting. And what I've decided, because I feel that that needs 5, but 5 is a bit overkill, so I'm going to, for this end and that end, I'm going to use a dimensional that I've cut in half. Because I think that really is quite enough. And somewhere here I've got one bit left over from an earlier sheet, so that's okay. And I'm going to put this on so that the top, I think, lines up with that straight line. Let me just double check that. Yes, it does. Okay, so if I line that up again with my grid paper, just makes it a little bit easier. You can also see how much you've got over that dip in that petal and that dip, so that should help. Okay, so there's that. The next bit we need to do, which I'll do while I'm waiting, giving that a few minutes to dry, is the flowers. And the flowers I'm using, most of the other, well, I've done 3 of these, but I've been using this one a lot recently, so this one I'm going to use the plain one, and this is called Pictogram Punches. And I used 7 flowers. So my stamp is here, and my ink I put over this side, didn't I? And there is a right and wrong way of using this stamp, so that it's easy to use a punch. And what you will find is, if you look at all the petals, they've all got like one dip in there. I can't do this upside down. There you go, there's one. See how that's got like a dip? Well, that one and that one have also got dips, but this one here is more like just a squiggly line. So if you've got that towards the top, your punch will just go onto it very nicely. It will save you having any kind of fight at all. That wasn't a very good one, was it? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we can get one more on there. Yes, that's good. Don't need those. Little punch. Right, don't need you either. Let's put you away. That's it. Okay. The punch is the little flower punch from the Itty Bitty Accent Punch Pack. You get 3 punches altogether. Give that one a miss. And turn it over. Right, there we go. And then to give all of these some dimension, I'll just pop them onto my hand and use the upside down reverse end of my paper piercer. I'm popping them upside down like this because then they'll be ready for me to put some Tombow glue on. Looks like I've lost, oh no, I can see it. I can say I've lost one of my flowers, but it's over here. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 of these onto this bit. Again, this is one of those things, whatever your choice of adhesive is. There we go, that's better. Right, so this will be nicely done by now. So we can see how the card will be standing up. And we'll put this back on. Now to get this back on, that's buckled a little bit, but never mind. These points again, I'm going to get them pointing towards these gaps here, again where my fingernails are. Okay, so like, in fact it should run along the top of the ribbon as well. Let's use this, easier to see without fingers in the way. There we go, that's fine. Now, more Tombow. there's a little bit of a crease on my label there where I pulled it off, so I'm disguising it with my flowers. I say you should only use odd numbers, but I've got 3 that side, 1 that side, so that's an odd number to me, that's fine. Okay, last thing is my pearls. Okay, so I've used my medium size pearls on this. Right, that's this bag here. Okay. Oops. The reason I decided to make this card was, if you've been following my blog, I did a challenge using a set of dies. How many different things could I do? And I made a shaped card like this, but because I'd used the Deco Label dies, the card finished up quite small. I love the card that I did, really love it, she says very modestly. But I thought, you know, I must be able to do that using a larger one. So then I started doing this. This is my 4th one now. Right, there we go. So that's my card. Let's have a little tidy up, shall we? Put myself back together again. Right, so what do you think? You like that? Shall I show you the others now? I'm not quite sure which is the best way to show you. You've seen the green one, that's the mint macaroon. I did one in Sahara sand. Okay, so again it's the same, but this needed inking around the edge. And then the very first one I did, very like me, nice bright colour. This is done in Real Red. I used another of the Deco Label frames on that, and yes, on one on the inside. Now that one you could write in happy birthday, so that was a bit different. And this one I also inked the edges in white. So loads of things you could do with these. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please ask. As always, I'll be very happy to help you. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button on the right hand side, or it may be underneath depending on what you're watching the video on. If you'd like to buy any of the products I've used here, please click on the 24/7 link that I've put on the screen at the bottom of the screen. And many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.